In a quiet town, nestled among rolling hills, lived an old man named Elias. He was a master craftsman, a wood carver whose hands had shaped countless marvels from simple blocks of wood. His workshop, smelling perpetually of sawdust and varnish, was a museum of his life's work. Finely carved animals, intricate boxes, and delicate ornaments lined the shelves, each a testament to his skill. But for years, Elias's hands had been still. His tools lay gathering a thin layer of dust, untouched. The source of his stillness sat in the corner of his workshop, shrouded by a heavy canvas cloth. Underneath was his greatest failure, or so he believed. It was a rocking horse, commissioned decades ago for the mayor's firstborn son. Elias had poured his heart and soul into it. He chose the finest oak, envisioning a magnificent steed, a child's loyal companion. But as he worked on the final, delicate curve of the horse's neck, a hidden flaw in the wood gave way. A deep, irreparable crack split the piece in two. The deadline was missed, the commission was lost, and the sting of that failure had poisoned his passion ever since. The broken horse became a monument to his imperfection, a constant, silent accusation. His granddaughter, Clara, would often visit. She was a bright, curious girl, with eyes that saw the world not just for what it was, but for what it could be. She loved the workshop, even in its quiet state. She would run her fingers over the smooth surfaces of the finished pieces, imagining the stories they held. She knew about the shrouded figure in the corner, and she could feel the weight of its presence in her grandfather's silence. One sunny afternoon, Clara arrived with a small, weathered box in her hands. "Grandpa," she said, her voice soft, "I found this in the attic." It was Grandma's. Elias took the box. Inside, nestled on a bed of faded velvet, were dozens of colorful, mismatched buttons. There were mother-of-pearl buttons, small wooden toggles, and bright, plastic flowers. He remembered his late wife, Lena, and her habit of collecting lost or spare buttons. "A button without a hole is just a disc," she used to say, "and a coat without a button is just a blanket. Everything has a purpose, even if it's not the one we first imagined." Clara watched him, her expression gentle. "Grandma always said that broken things aren't useless things. They're just waiting for a new story." Her words, so simple yet so profound, echoed his wife's wisdom. They chipped away at the wall he had built around his heart. That evening, long after Clara had gone home, Elias stood before the shrouded corner. He took a deep breath, the scent of old wood and regret filling his lungs, and pulled back the canvas. There it was, the broken rocking horse. The crack was just as he remembered it, a jagged wound in the beautiful oak. For the first time in years, he didn't just see the failure. He saw the strong legs, the perfectly carved tail, the gentle, unfinished face. He saw the hours of love and effort that had come before the final, heartbreaking moment. He ran his hand over the splintered edge. Lena's words, spoken through Clara, resonated in the quiet workshop. "Broken things aren't useless things." He looked over at the box of buttons Clara had brought him. An idea, small and fragile at first, began to form in his mind. It wasn't about fixing the break. It was about transforming it. The next morning, for the first time in years, the sound of tools at work drifted from Elias's workshop. He didn't try to glue the neck back together. Instead, he carefully sanded the broken edges, smoothing them down until they were no longer sharp and jagged. He wasn't hiding the crack. He was accepting it. He then opened the box of buttons. He began to meticulously inlay the buttons along the line of the crack. He chose them with the same care he had once used to select his wood. A row of pearly white buttons followed the curve, like a string of pearls on the horse's neck. A bright red button became a whimsical jewel on its bridle. He used the small wooden toggles to create a textured mane. The crack, once a symbol of his failure, was becoming the most beautiful and unique feature of the entire piece. It was a river of color and memory, flowing through the heart of the wood. Days turned into weeks. Elias worked with a renewed sense of purpose. He wasn't just fixing a broken toy. He was mending a part of his own soul. He found old scraps of leather to make a new saddle and used brightly colored yarn, a gift from Clara, to weave a vibrant tale. The rocking horse was no longer the perfect steed he had once envisioned. It was something more. It was a tapestry of second chances, a collage of repaired dreams. It was a story of a break, but also a story of healing. When he was finally finished, he invited Clara to the workshop. Her eyes widened as she saw the transformed horse. It stood proudly, not in spite of its crack, but because of it. The line of colorful buttons gleamed in the sunlight streaming through the window. "It's beautiful, Grandpa," she whispered, her hand tracing the path of the buttons. "It's like the crack is its heartline." Elias smiled, a genuine, heartfelt smile that reached his eyes. "Your grandmother was a wise woman. She knew that our imperfections don't define us. They just give us a new story to tell." The news of Elias's return to his craft spread through the town. People came to his workshop, not just to buy his carvings, but to see the rocking horse. They saw a craftsman who had turned his deepest regret into his most celebrated masterpiece. The horse became a local legend, a symbol of resilience and the beauty of embracing flaws. Elias's workshop was once again filled with the hum of creation. He taught Clara how to carve, not just with her hands, but with her heart. He taught her that mistakes weren't endings, but invitations to be creative. He showed her that sometimes, the most beautiful things in life are the ones that have been broken and lovingly put back together. The old rocking horse never left the workshop. It stood by the window, a constant reminder that it's never too late to let go of the past, to embrace our imperfections, and to start a new chapter. It taught Elias and everyone who saw it that our scars are not signs of weakness, but proof that we have healed, that we have grown, and that we have the capacity to create something beautiful from the broken pieces of our lives. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel for more content that inspires and uplifts. We believe in the power of stories to change our perspective and bring a little more light into the world. See you in the next one.